Alright guys, so I've been taking my gosh darn time to get around to doing this, and kind of ignoring my mealworm farm again, which is really, really bad of me. So today we're going to clean it all out, which means we're also going to be using this to gather mealworms. So I need to get them more food, and then I'm going to gather mealworms and put them in here, and then I'm going to go freeze them so that I can bake them later. Even though we have no chickens to feed them to, yeah, I'll figure out what to do with them after that. But, so we're going to do that. And I'll show you how. Alright guys, here are the things you're going to want. First, food. Food for your mealworms. That's what you're going to want. Second, you're going to want a container to put all the scraps, dead mealworms, dead pupa, old beetles, molding stuff, all that kind of stuff in there. You're going to want a container to put your live mealworms in. You're going to want a container to sift your frass in, and you're going to want a sifter. Now, the last sifter I had, it wasn't a bad one. It was smaller than this, and that's fine. You want a mesh that, you know, your mealworms for the most part aren't going to go through. And you're going to want one that doesn't have a lip here that the mealworms can get up under and get stuck in, because that's a pain, let me tell you. So, and then of course you're going to want your mealworms and stuff. So, let's show you how to do that. Alright, so first what we're going to do is we're going to pick out any dead mealworms and stuff and put them in our thing. So that means old food, that means dead mealworms, dead beetles, so on and so forth. We're just gonna go ahead and clean all of that out. So better to start at once. So this is what I've got just from that first one. Yeah, you can't tell much of a difference after my going through and cleaning it, but there might be a few pupa in there that I've missed, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the other two, and then I'll show you again. Alright, there's all the pupa I've gotten now. And look at all this frass. Frass is extremely good for your plants. They'll like that. And then of course, so many mealworms. So many mealworms. So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and feed the beetles because they're probably starving. And I don't have to do anything more with their containers. I only have to clean out the mealworms now. So break off some celery. And watch them spaz out as they're given some food. And there we go. Alright, so this is how we're going to do this. You're going to want all three of these out, including the one that holds your pupa, because, you know, you may have missed some. We're just going to take this bin, flip it over, and slowly push everything in there. And it gets a little dusty, so if you need to, wear a mask, you know, for safety. What you're going to do is you're just going to shake it. And I lost a couple of mealworms down here. Oof. Come here. I'm going to take your sizable mealworms and put them in there. I'm going to clean this up. Now, there's a lot wrong with this here. You can see all the spots there. And just go ahead and scrape that. So there. What you're going to do is just going to take this and shake it. Something else I forgot to mention is you may want to have another bucket to put the remains in here. All the stuff that doesn't sift out. Yeah, you may want another bucket for that. And I didn't get one. But I'll rectify that soon. So you just want to shake it, and if you find things in there you don't want, put them in there. If you find pupa you want to keep, put them in there, and then of course put the mealworms in there. And just keep shaking. And what you'll eventually end up with is all the bits and pieces that'll go through. And you'll even get some baby mealworms in there that have that are small enough to go through. So what you'll do later is you'll just set this aside and then come back and sift through it again to get the mealworms back out. And that's really all there is to it. It's not that difficult. Now, this is a little heavy, and since I've left it in a little too long and there's been some mold and some other stuff in it, then yeah, see, there's a dark one. He's kind of dark. But you can go through and pick out the mealworms. They're sizable. Pick out the things you don't want in there. Pick out any pupa. Anything and everything, and that's how you'll clean it out. There's one that just shed his skin. He's white. So you don't have to pick out every mealworm. If you want to leave some in there for pupa, go ahead. I've got plenty of pupa, so I'll be grabbing as many as I can get out of here. That's the plan. But yeah, mealworm frass is very good for your plants. They'll love it. And do keep in mind that this can get dusty, and that can aggravate your sinuses and stuff. So if you need to, wear a mask or something. I've never really worried about it, but you know, if sometimes you can develop allergies to certain things. So just be cautious for yourself and other people if they are around you and stuff. You know, just safety. Now, what you could do is just wait until you've pretty much eaten everything down, and that would make it a little easier to sift. But unfortunately, my thing really just does need cleaning out, so that's what we're gonna do, is just clean it out. Now, since I don't have chickens anymore, so I can't really store these for the chickens. However, I do have a turtle. This is just way more than she can eat, but that's okay because once I cook them, they're storable. Another thing you can do is you can eat these yourself. And I know that might not seem very appetizing, but they do have some nutritional value. Don't ask me, because I can't tell you what exactly it is, but I can tell you that it's not going to kill you to eat them. I have eaten them before. I've eaten live ones, specifically for a challenge at a youth thing. It was called the Fear Factor, but it ended up being more like a gross factor kind of thing. So one of the factors that we did was an eating contest. They had several things lined up that supposedly people don't like. You know, an awful lot of people don't like. And so you would go through, and each round would be slightly harder than the last. And the very last round was eating 2 live mealworms. And funnily enough, that's actually how I got my mealworm farm started. Was I got the leftover mealworms from that activity. And it was slightly less than 25, I believe. But that's how I started. I originally was going to start a mealworm farm in 4th grade, because, you know, in 4th grade they do all sorts of experiments. They have you raise butterflies. We had a tadpole at one point, and then we did mealworms. And I actually brought my mealworms home and was going to continue raising them, but my siblings dumped them out in the backyard. So that never happened, and a couple of years later, here I am, raising mealworms with an actual purpose, and not just because I thought they were cool. And of course, you're going to have small mealworms in here that have managed to make it through. And they'll live in here for a while, and that's fine. Like I said, just go back through a week or two later and sift again. That's why it's good to have more than one container like this that you can do that with. So, there was once a guy on YouTube that I watched who had gold mining sifters or something like that. And he used that to sift his mealworms, but he was growing them more intensely than I am. And so he needed that. But I actually wouldn't mind having that. It would make it a lot easier, wouldn't it? But it's not on my top priority list of things to get. And I wouldn't even know where to start looking. You want to avoid putting as little of the mealworm bedding in here as possible. Well, here's what I've got so far, and that's not even all of them. That's just some of the bigger sized ones that I've picked out. So this is everything that's left after sifting through it. And this is all the frass I've got. So now I just need to do this last one here. And I got some more oats. So what I'll do is when I sift this one out, I'm just going to dump the leftovers into here. And whatever mealworms are left in here, I'm also going to let grow out. And sift through it again another time. Collect pupa and stuff and what from. So, yeah, I got a lot of them in here. That's kind of fun. And then I'll take this and fill this one up with fresh stuff. And we'll start the cycle again. Well, I did say you guys could eat these things. And one thing I do want to try is like stir-fried mealworms over rice or something. Call me crazy, and I'll totally admit to being crazy. But that's just something I wanted to try. There are really, honestly, just so many in here, guys. Hand-picking them all is quite a lengthy process. So, it probably is better to try and, like, if you can, wait until I've eaten all of this down, or have a different way of getting them all out, because it really does. It really is kind of time consuming. Even if you're only getting, even if you are leaving some in there, if you want to gather the majority of them, it's time consuming. Very much so. I'm not quite done, but I've got this little bit left. And that's probably going to have a lot of mealworms in it too. And then filling up this one with the fresh stuff and so on. Whew. Alright, so this is my last one. Just got to sift it all out and go through and pick all the decent sized mealworms out. There's a lot of dust around here now from sifting these out. I've gone through, what, 4 or 5 of these now, I believe. I've almost completely filled this up. And it's what? It's 2 cups. Okay, that's almost 2 cups of mealworms. And that's not even all of the mealworms I have. There's probably at least another 1,000 in here that are not yet of size. And then probably somewhere around 100 or so within the frass itself. Who knows? Alright, and what we're going to do with this 2 cups of mealworms is just open up the freezer here, find a spot for it, put it in, and close it. Check on it in the morning.